Hey guys, so in today's video we're going to do that toddler DIY project I did for my niece a couple weeks ago. With that, let's cut to the footage. For this project you're going to need a piece of paper, white computer paper works fine, a pen or marker, scissors, some yarn, and washi tape. Let's get started. First thing you're going to want to do is fold the paper in half, like this. And the second thing you're going to want to do is fold the paper in half the opposite way. So you end up with something like this. Now you open the paper back up and you fold the opposite way to make the crease stronger. So if you open the paper up all the way, you should have 4 squares. And in these squares, you're going to cut along the dotted lines. Or, shall I say, the folded lines. Once you've done that, you're going to take your pen or your marker and you're going to decide if you want your letters to be horizontal or vertical. And for this case, I'm going to do vertical because this is just a sample. So you're going to make block letters. So we're just going to do really bad block letters. I'm only going to do Sam, so that only takes up 3. If you need more than 4 letters, you just repeat the process with more paper until you have the number of squares that is needed. I had to use 2.5 sheets of paper when I did this before. And then one more. If you don't feel comfortable doing it in pen or marker right away, you can do it in pencil and then trace it. Or you could use stencils even. Personally, I don't care about perfection. Now that you've done that, you're going to take each one of your letters and put them in order. If you have a hole punch, you can use a hole punch. I didn't have one on hand, so you just fold over a corner and you make a slit if you want it to hang at a diagonal. If you want it to hang straight, you make a slit in each corner. So you repeat the process for each letter. You want to make a small slit, not close to the edge of the paper though. So you want to do now that you've made all your slits, you fold all your papers back up so they're not bent like this. You fold them like they're supposed to be. Now you can take your yarn and you're gonna just kind of eyeball it and gauge how much you need. It kind of depends on how long your name is. You want a little bit of extra, probably 1 inch to 1.5 inches on each side. Excuse me while I cut this. To make loops in the side. So now that you've cut it, you have a piece of string like this. So here's your string now that you've cut it, as you can see, and you're going to go up maybe about 2 inches to 1.5 inches, and you're going to make a loop by putting your finger underneath, wrapping it around, and then pulling it through the loop. So here's your loop. Then you're going to take a second finger, which is the finger right next to it, and you're going to put it right on the knot, and you're going to make a loop around that finger by pulling it through. Then you're going to remove your second finger and keep your first finger in and pull tight. So here is, you have a loop that won't move. So now that we have that, we're going to set this aside. And we're going to go back to our letters. Here's where the washi tape comes into play. You can use whatever kind of washi tape you want, whatever kind you have on hand. I just have this confetti kind on hand that I've used. You can use a solid color, you can use a pattern, you can use a holiday pattern, and even if you want to make this more decorative, you could cut a larger square out of a pattern construction paper. An example of that would be something like this. I just happen to have a Halloween piece of paper on hand, but for this video I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to keep this. So what you want to do with the washi tape is find the corner, find the edge that is, the tape edge, just like any other tape, and you're going to take the washi tape and take it alongside the edges of your letters so that they tear less easy and they're more sturdy. So you want to do all 4 sides. When you put the tape down on the side, you put it about halfway on the front side so that you can fold it over to the back. There you go. So here's one side folded over, and I will show you the letter when it's finished. After you do that, you are left with something like this with the edges sticking out because you just folded the pieces of tape over. That took about 5 minutes. I will insert a clip of a stopwatch that I had running while I did this. I did all 3 letters. Now, the next step is to trim the corners so that you don't have tape sticking out on the corners and it looks finished. So here's what you do. You take your scissors, you take your letter, and you just cut the corners. Simple, right? So then you cut all 4 corners. And you're left with something like this. You repeat the process on all the letters. So now once the process is complete, you are left with 4 completed letters, and you clean up your mess from the corners. Then you return to your string and you take your letters and you feed them through the slits. So depending on if you did 1 or 2 slits, it's 1 slit per letter or 2 slits per letter. You want to pull it all the way through to the end with the loop. Now, if you do 2 slits, you're going to have string either on the front, like double string on the front, or the back. So let's do it on the back. You feed it from the top first. So here's it through. You feed it from the front, I should say. If you want it to run on the front, like the string on the front, then you feed it from the back. You repeat this process with all of your letters, whether it be 3, 4, 5, 8. The washi tape also helps prevent it from tearing, where you cut the slits to feed it through. So once your letters are feeded onto your string, you're going to end up with something like this. Now, I did not tie knots between each letter because I wanted space to rearrange the letters. So pull the letters apart to however you feel looks the best or is going to hang the best. So once you've done that, you take the other side, which you fed all the letters through. You make the same loop that we made before. Then you just trim the edges of the string. You can hang it by the loops at the end once the toddler is done. Now that you've created this project, hand the toddler some crayons and let them color to their heart's content. Some kids will color inside the lines, depending on their age. Some won't. Some will just scribble. Some will make colors that go together. It's all about the kids' individuality. And just the idea that they get to help create something. So with that being said, I will talk to you guys later in my next video. Till next time, bye!